do this one here and then I gotta go in.
What was that? Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Dan.
Can't see you though.
Okay, let me,
That's affirmative, no video.
I'm gonna exit and see if I can take my background off, because I think that might be what's. See you in a second, maybe. That's a little bit better. I can see most everybody. Well, it's that time. Looks like we have a quorum. Call a Public Works Committee meeting of November 10th, 2020 to order at 1832. Everyone's present, it appears. Myself, Mr. Fisher, Mr. Callahan, Mr. Mankins, Mr. McDonough, and Mr. Frederickson. Director Neary is present, and Commissioner Shea is present also. Okay. Item number 1, communication number 2020-139, Brendan McDonough, Commissioner, District 8, requesting Council of Commissioners to consider that a speed study be conducted by the Montana Department of Transportation on Highway 2 from the 9 Mile to Pipestone Pass. With the upcoming recreational season approaching, I ask that a study and decision be made in a timely manner to address the safety concerns for the spring and summer seasons. Commissioner McDonough? Okay. Okay, Director Neary, would you like to discuss this a little bit? Feedback issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Olson. I think on our last meeting, we talked, the meeting will be this Thursday, the 12th. And it's on the agenda for the MDT, but I won't have any answers probably till our next Public Works Committee meeting.
Okay.
And I actually did, when I emailed to get it on the agenda, I did bring up that we wanted to start it all the way at the beginning of Highway 2. I think that's what we all agreed on. If we're going to change it, we might as well change it for the good of all of it.
It's probably coming home this weekend, or did you say?
Okay. Did we have other things on there? Didn't we have, we also had Continental on there too, I think, but.
Yeah, I put that on there too, sorry.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion on that? We'll hold that in abeyance until the next meeting. Okay. Okay. Item number 2, communication number 2020-385, Nicole Pointier Carrells, How Novel Bookstore, requesting Council of Commissioners concurrence to place a hanging sign on the east-facing wall of the building located at 21 North Main Street. I did a little research on this and found out actually where that is required. It almost looks like they've got the cart before the horse here, though, because they should make a request for permit, and then that would be part of the permitting process that we give them an encroachment. I went through back through the zoning agenda and didn't find any reference to this, so I'm thinking that she may have, this Nicole Pointier Carrells may have put that in without going through zoning. So at this point, we'll hold it in advance. I'm going to do some more research on it and see if anything. Mr. Neary.
Thank you, Chairman Olson. I think Chief Executive said it did go to zoning, but it had to go to Public Works in order to get approved. And on the, they can have it out from the front of their building. They have to have at least 9 feet of clearance if it's only over the sidewalk, and if it extends past the sidewalk into the parking area, the minimum of 12 feet. So I think, if I remember right, that's what Chief Executive Palmer said. That's kind of why it came to our committee to see what we had to do there.
Okay, so actually we should go out and measure how high there's a post sticking out from the building, as I understand it, that the sign will hang on, and so that would have to be whatever the sign length is, and 9 feet below it. Or they'll have to make a smaller sign. Okay.
Correct. That's the 9 foot is what we recommend, but we'd allow it down to 8.
Okay. Commissioner O'Neill, you had your hand up?
Today.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Olson. I'm not on this committee, but so how do we kick this out of here? So who's going to go measure it? Like, I'm not gonna, We don't want Mankins or Fred to do it, so I'm just curious. Thank you.
I suggest who's ever tallest.
Oh, thanks. Thank you, Commissioner Callahan. Commissioner Fisher, you had your hand up.
Thank you, Chairman Olson. I believe this should be referred back to either the zoning or to the full council. I don't think it belongs to our committee no more. If we're following what Mr. Neary said, that is back with the planning and zoning department for them to make that decision. And then at that time, they could refer it to Public Works Committee, and Public Works would refer it to the whole council. So I think we're all on the same page. This may be in the wrong committee at this time. And I think after you do a little research, you'll find that it probably should go back to planning and zoning. And if they need a variance, they'll apply for one. If they don't need a variance, they'll give us a recommendation for approval. That's my thoughts. Thank you.
Okay. I think that's where I'm going to go in my research, is go to planning and say, did you guys get this? Because I didn't see anything on their minutes or agenda about it. And they might be trying to at least get their ducks in a row in the wrong order. So anyway, I'll hold this in abeyance. Oh, just Commissioner McDonough has a question. Let me mute mine.
I'm gonna get feedback here. I'm in the same room as Commissioner Olson, so we're having an issue. Chief Executive Palmer, so I'll let you read it. Hello? Okay. So Chief Executive Palmer stated 2 weeks ago, and I believe he's correct after we do this, that we can do this in the public, this is in the right committee, I think, that if the Public Works Committee, or department, it's under the purview of Director Neary and his guys to just measure the sign and give the okay, I think. I mean, that's what Chief Executive Palmer said too. Commissioner Neary, do you feel the same?
We definitely can do that. All in this communication, I believe all they sent to us was the dimensions of the sign they want to put up. Am I correct? Yeah, I guess we could reach out to her and make sure what she's going to hang it on and make sure that it's above 9 feet. That's what you recommend.
You're on mute, Mr. Olson.
Talking to myself, excuse me. Yeah, the hanging rod appears to be in out there already. The sign dimensions and whatever. And if your department would take that up, that would probably facilitate this better than having me go out there with a tape measure. Would that be okay, Mr. Neary?
Yes.
So they're saying, you want a bubble.
Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chairman Olson. In the letter, at the very bottom of the letter, the last paragraph reads, showing how the sign will look. The sign is 40 inches tall by 3 feet by 18 inches in height. The sign will be attached to the building with 2-inch strap steel to the existing bracket. So I think the bracket was there. I think what's going to happen is, I think this has got to go somewhere between Public Works Department and zoning to make sure it's in compliance. But I don't know that Mr. Neary and them have any authority to go out and do any measuring until the planning and zoning board gives some type of a recommendation. I mean, you just don't, government officials just don't go out and start working on somebody's property to see what's going on. So, I mean, the dimensions are there. The letter's been filed on 9/16/20, and we're into November. So, you know, we're just kind of not following this up the way we should. And what we got to do here is we got to get Lori Casey involved and find out what goes on from there, and then find out, you know, who's going to hang the sign, whether it's going to be White Silk signing or Butte Neon or, you know, whoever's going to do it. It really has nothing to do with the Public Works Department making the measurements or anything like that. That's up to, she's got the measurements of the sign. We got to get a variance if they need it. If there's not a variance, we can just move forward with it. Thank you for the input.
Mr. Frederickson.
Thanks, Chairman Olson. Yeah, I mean, I agree completely with Commissioner Fisher. I'd hate to, you know, move this back up to council and, you know, when she's been waiting on it and, you know, the pole's already existing. There was a sign, the previous business had a sign hanging there. So, I mean, I don't think that we should expect Director Neary's crew to go out and start measuring things when there's already been a sign hanging up there previously, probably from the previous two businesses that were in that space. So I think I agree, we need to get this over to zoning and they need to start looking at it and taking care of it. So she's been open for a few months now. I'm sure she wants a sign. Shouldn't be this hard.
Second.
Okay, who?
Well, I'll make a motion, a formal motion to bring this over to the zoning board to take a look at it. That's what this committee feels is the right path.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? It's been moved and seconded. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Number 3, communication number 2020-402, Michelle Schlade, District 2 Commissioner, requesting Council of Commissioners concurrence to place this communication in the Public Works Committee to review the traffic calming methods around Whittier School area. Many citizens have expressed concerns about the safety of the children in this area. Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would request that we continue to hold this. Most of you were on the email yesterday, or not most of you, a couple of you, trying to schedule an extended meeting with Cassie and Todd. They would both like to come and speak about their thoughts about their observations. I'm not sure if Director Neary has anything to add to that or not. I
do not. I was just interested in listening to them and letting the rest of the commission hear what they had. I thought they had some neat ideas that kind of opened my eyes up to different methods, but we just have to see what everybody wants to do.
I think it's,
Yeah, I have a proposed time. That's the other thing, is a time when you guys could attend also. Wednesday nights are better. The next Wednesday night on a regular meeting is it's the Tuesday night before Thanksgiving. But there'd be plenty of time there before that meeting to have them come and talk about it, if that would work for everybody, to come an hour earlier on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, because that's when the regular meeting should be scheduled for. And that's 2 weeks from today. Or 2 weeks from, no. What day was that?
24th.
24th. Okay. So that'd be 2 weeks from today. And maybe if we have council, I'm looking at my calendar here. So we have this is the 10th. And again, And that's a council of the whole. And so we'd have to come extra early. Would that work for everybody to come, let's say half an hour earlier than normal at 6 o'clock for a Public Works Committee meeting? To extend it, and that would be an hour?
I'm not opposed to going the following week either.
Okay.
On a regular meeting night and having a Public Works Committee, whatever the group decides. It might be kind of tough to do on a committee of the whole night.
I think it might be easier to do it on a regular meeting night and have just a posted special meeting for the Public Works Committee, because 2 weeks from tonight at 6, we have the Finance and Budget Committee, which is always posted in standard. So just to make it easy on the public, even though we have little participation in the committee meetings, but it's still posted at 6. So maybe a regular meeting night would work best.
Right.
Commissioner Olson, you're muted.
That would be the 2nd of December. Too many buttons going on here. And that would be the one after Thanksgiving. Would that work for everybody? Okay, so let's, Commissioner Fisher. You're muted.
Thank you, Chairman Olson. I think that's a good idea to move to December 2nd. And if we follow back a little bit, you'll also notice there's been some concerns of the same type on Iron Street for the West Elementary. We're having concerns at the Margaret Larry. I think we've expanded this far beyond the Whittier. And I think when we do have this special meeting, that we try to come up with a plan and see exactly what we can do to involve all the schools, because I think this is expanding out there from listening to Party Line and some other people. I think we've got a bigger can of worms here than we anticipated. And if we're going to tackle this problem, I think we might as well do it in an orderly fashion and make a plan and then make our proposal to whoever it might be, whether it be the school board or Public Works or whoever decides we got to move forward with. But this isn't an issue that's a hot button in Butte right now, and we've got to move on it early December and hopefully have something done before we get into the new year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that's probably a good idea to, at least to that meeting, invite somebody from the school district to at least attend so they can see what the issues are and if they have any input as to how we can also solve this problem. I think we've also kind of included the fourth communication also with stop signs to see if there's another way besides stop signs, but because I think that's the problem, is a lot of too much traffic in residential neighborhoods, most specifically around schools. Okay, so I'll set up a public or a special meeting on December 2nd. I think that was correct, and invite someone from the school district to attend. Okay, any further discussion? Okay. Communication number 4, or fourth item on the agenda, communication number 2020-409, Dave Palmer, Chief Executive, requesting Council and Commissioners concurrence for this communication to be placed in the Public Works Committee for an evaluation. Suzanne Crossman, 2837 State Street, has asked that stop signs be placed at the intersection of Banks and State Street and Yale and Porter Streets. The intersections have become dangerous with the amount of traffic going through and people speeding. This may not be the exact same problem, but I think it has to do with finding ways to slow people down, and at least talk about it. See if there's some other options besides stop signs, or maybe alter, as Chief Executive Palmer suggested, maybe we need to alter our standards for placing of stop signs down from the 250 cars per hour. Is that what it was? And also see if that works. That will work. Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chairman Olson. On the agenda tonight, communication number 7/2020-458. John Morgan is touching on this subject also, to request that there be a committee, a task force put forth to review the signs. So hopefully we can make these two fall together somehow in the near future. Thank you.
Okay, that's good. Let's see if we can, if they're similar, I think we should group them together and approach it from a systemic and not fixing one thing at a time. So, all right. So we'll also move this discussion, or hold it in abeyance until the December 2nd special meeting. Any further discussion on that? Okay, just as a note, I just received a, I just got a thing from, or an email from Lori Casey about it, and basically it's verifying that Dan, the council needs to grant permission for a sign to hang over public sidewalks. Once she has permission, she can apply for a sign permit, and we will make sure it meets all requirements in regard to height, etc. Okay. So. Okay. Oh, there's Lori. Hello, Lori. You're watching over my shoulder.
I just joined, Dan. I just seen your email.
Okay, we'll go back to communication number 2 then, if that's number 4. We're going to hold until December 2nd. Ms. Casey.
Yeah, Commissioner Olson and members of the Public Works Committee. Generally, the council grants permission for anything that hangs over within the public right-of-way, including the sidewalk. And so it's just so that you are aware and grant that permission. Once that permission is granted, then they will apply for a sign permit. There's certain requirements for how big the sign is, how high it has to be, so that it's hung safely. So anybody walking under the sign, it's high enough and it's attached properly. All of those requirements will be part of the sign permit application through the building code department. But first, the council has to grant permission for it just to hang over, because it is a public right of way.
Okay, and we don't care how high it is off the ground. That's up to you, for you folks to verify that it meets the zoning at the time that the permit is requested.
Correct it, because based on the size of our sign under building code, then that'll determine how high it has to hang. A sign has to be, I believe, a minimum of 8 feet above, so that it clears it, so most anything clears underneath it. But then it also is based on the size of how high it has to be.
Okay. So, Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chairman Olson. With that being said, I guess what we can do is I would make a motion that we concur with communication 2020-385 and refer it to the full council.
Well, second.
A second by who seconded that?
I did, and I also have a question on the motion.
Okay.
My question is, to Director Casey, do we have to, can Public Works Committee make the recommendation that it's okay that it goes over the sidewalk, or does full council have to make that recommendation?
I believe that the full council then would have to agree with just like they do on any other item.
Okay.
Yeah, in the general provisions of this, it says the encroachment permit is granted by the Council of Commissioners. So that would be the case. Commissioner McDonough. What's that? Okay, Commissioner Frederickson, you made it the first motion that we took action on. Would you like to withdraw that? And then we'll redo it the correct way.
Sure, I'll withdraw my previous motion.
Okay. All right, so the second motion is that we pass or refer this to the Council of Commissioners as a whole to, with our suggestion to approve.
Concur, refer to the full council.
Concur to the full council. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, we got.
Oh, we have a voter here. We got a poll here.
Okay, well, good. We'll do that. We'll get fancy. So, but everyone, please vote. I got to remember all these terms. Anybody want to change their vote? Could you please report, clerk? Could you please report the vote? Did I miss anything on that? Oh, it's 5 yes. Yeah. We should have 6 yes. It should be. Let's see, Mankins. Mr. Fisher, you're in favor?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so that's passed 6-0. Since we're going to be formal and all that, so. All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Chairman,
Oh, Commissioner Shea.
thank you. I'm sorry. Very quickly, while Ms. Casey's still on the line, Commissioner Fisher had said that Commissioner Morgan, Chairman Morgan had a communication on the agenda addressing the sign ordinances, but I don't believe that Chapter 17, covers street traffic signs. I believe that only covers like advertising, like the Copper City PT debacle that we had not long ago. Is that correct, Ms. Casey? Or does Chapter 17 of the Municipal Code also cover like stop signs, yield signs, things like that?
Commissioner Olson, Commissioner Shea, no, it only covers business signage. Actually, traffic signs would be exempt, or any signs from that Butte-Silver does are exempt out of that sign ordinance.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. You had a meeting or a motion to adjourn. Are we going to adjourn? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Good night. See you at the next meeting.